The years in Indianapolis saw the birth of many family traditions. Some would endure, some would not. Rosamay was home more now, so her garden flourished. We boys had our chores. Jim and Bill built a model train layout in the basement. I was considered too young, but I would make up for all of that as an adult. I would watch with awe as old 999 raced around the track, their little Lionel city of plastic growing each year. At Christmas Willis Short, Mama would arrive baking her cookies and bringing expensive gifts like the Texas Special Electric Train. Jim's own son, Jeffrey Kenton, now has a whole collection. There was still the occasional family trip to Florida. In the winter of 1954, Roy Wead took firstborn Jim deep-sea fishing. The rest of us boys were told we would each get our turn too. The adult team members all made a big fuss about the trip. Jim actually got to drive the boat, which was something. But Dad was not much of a fisherman, and Jim was obviously bored. So the whole idea of deep-sea fishing stopped right there. It was fine with me. I preferred the beach. No longer state women's missionary president, Rosamay organized her boys into a singing troupe, insisting that Roy take us with him out on the road. We even had our own chorus sheet. When Dad was home, every evening there was family devotions. In May, we listened to the radio account of the 500-mile race while driving to the Indiana campgrounds. We always rooted for Bill Vukovich, who won in 53 and 54. We cried when he crashed and died the next year. At camp, the Wead Family singers were once joined by guest speaker J. Robert Ashcroft. His son would become Attorney General of the United States and pass on that picture to our family. Inspired by a children's evangelist, I started a ministry of my own, performing for birthdays in churches. Thanks to some timely exposure in Dad's publication, pastors all over Indiana invited me in. I would use my ventriloquist act all the way into adulthood, until I finally had to choose between a children's ministry or the role of a more serious public speaker. Baseball was big. Jim and Bill had a baseball card collection which they carefully protected. When Dad finally brought home some cards for me, I was ecstatic. One card in particular, Roy Campanella, made me a Dodger fan for life. Every morning I perused the box score to see if Campy got a home run. June 3rd, 1954, Roy Wead's little sister Joyce was married to a preacher named Carl Strader. And the next year, on December 21st, 1955, Dolly Ellingson, daughter of Roy's oldest sister Florence, married Max Elliott in a spectacular event in Minneapolis. Max was a music director in Fort Wayne, Indiana. The 7 years in Indianapolis would be the longest period in one place for the whole family. The great diaspora would soon be upon us. In Indianapolis, I would grow from a boy into a young man. Bill would win awards in debate. Jim would be elected the citywide president of Youth for Christ, 3,000 strong, and star on stage in Annie Get Your Gun. He was our hero.